Hello and welcome to another Python tutorial. My name is Tom with LearnPythonTutorial.com, and in today's tutorial we're going to expand on what we learned in the previous tutorial, and we're going to look at if statements. We're actually going to take a look at a compound if statement, which contains if statement inside an if statement. We're going to build a little game, nothing too fancy. It's basically you're going to choose a door, and based on the user's input of which door they want to go into, you're going to be faced with a scenario. So with this tutorial we're going to use our text editors. I use Sublime Text. You can use whatever one you like. Might be a little harder to follow along if you're not too familiar with text editors as we go through on this tutorial. First things first though, I want to create a folder to store the programs that we'll be building from this point on, because most of our tutorials from this point on will be in program format, so we need a place to store them. So what I'm going to do is put a file on my desktop, and I'm going to call it programs, and we'll store our programs in here, and we'll be able to pull them from to open them with our terminal. So with that being said, put a folder in your desktop called programs, and go ahead and open up your text editor. We're going to create a new file. So in Sublime Text it's Command N for new, and then Command S to save it, and we're going to save it to our programs file, which I'm already on, and we're going to call it doors.py, hit return, and now we got a file in there. It's going to hold our little program here, and the .py is a Python folder if you guys weren't aware of that, and it must have that for us to run the Python code. Alright, so the first thing we want to do with our program here is be able to get the user's input, and we want to prompt them. So we use something called the built-in function called input, and input allows us to prompt a user for something like please select the door to enter, and then we're going to give it a variable to represent the user's input, and we'll build if statements under that to kind of guide us along our way. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to name our variable door and assign that to the user's input. So the input function looks like this. Alright, it's a built-in function in Python, and it gets the user's input, and will actually prompt the user by creating a string in here, and it says please select a door to enter. Alright, choose either 1, 2, or 3, and then I add a space here at the end. So to see what this looks like inside our terminal, let's go ahead and bring up our terminal, and we have to navigate to where we saved our file. In my case, it's on my desktop in programs. So let me list out my files here and see where I'm at, and we'll go ahead and do cd, this is change directory to desktop. Alright, ls listed out again, and our files in programs, so I'm going to cd programs, and then I'm going to go ahead and run our program. So we do Python 3 doors.py, hit return, and it says please select the door to enter, choose either 1, 2, or 3. So I'll choose 1. Well, our program doesn't do anything because we didn't write any more code, but as you can see what input does, it prompts the user please select the door to enter and choose either 1, 2, or 3. I chose 1, but we don't have anything past that, so we kind of our program stops right there. So go ahead and bring back up your text editor, and let's go ahead and write an if statement. So we looked at the if statements in the previous tutorial where we introduced if statements, so we're going to go a little bit further here. So let's go ahead and do if door is equal to 1, then we're going to do something. So if door is equal to 1, and here's our door variable, so it's the user's input if it's equal to 1, and the input returns a string. Now we can always change it to an integer, but in this case we're just going to leave it as a string because that's not our main focus today. So we're going to leave it as a string of 1. So if the user puts in 1, it's going to do something. So let's go ahead and make it do something. So this is just a way to test our code, make sure it works. Print user chose door 1. Alright. Then what happens if the user chooses door 2? So we'll do elif door is equal to 2. Alright. Then we're going to do print user chose door 2. And this is just basically placeholder code here until we actually get ahead and improve our game. But I like to use a lot of placeholders so I know what's going on in my program when I run it. So we're going to do the same thing that we did above. And choose door 3. And then what happens if the user doesn't choose 1, 2, or 3, then we want to kind of use else to kick back an error message here to the user to let them know that they didn't do something right. So we'll do else, then we'll do print error, and we'll say you did not choose proper door. Boom. Alright, so we'll go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and run our program now to make sure it works. This is always good practice, so, you know, write a little bit of code, and then run it and make sure it's still working. So we'll go ahead and run it, and if you just push the up button, that brings up your previous command in the terminal, and hit enter, and it'll run the program. Please select the door to enter, choose either 1, 2, or 3, I'll choose 1, and it said user chose door number 1. Now that's what we told our program to kick back, and it says user chose door number 1. So if we go back and look at our code here, well, here's our input. We're prompted to choose door 1, 2, or 3, and the user chose 1, so it print back to us user chose door number 1. In that case, we were able to print something back, so if statement worked. Alright. Now we want to extend this program a little bit, so so it makes this a little more cooler. I mean, it's not going to be cool at all, but I mean, it'll make it a little cooler. Alright, so we're going to take another input. When the user enters number 1, we want to prompt them to do something else. So we're going to say line. Well, guess what? Our user, if he chose door number 1, he walked into a room that had a line. So we're going to say you entered a room that contained a line. And we're going to ask him to choose a weapon to fight off the line. So choose your weapon. We'll use stick, knife, or gun. Alright. So now the user has entered a room, and we're going to prompt them to choose a weapon. And below that, we're going to give some scenarios off of what to do if the user entered a room that contained a line. Now to speed things up, we're going to do this for each of our elif statements. So I'm going to Command C to copy this, and we're just going to change some text in here. This is not going to be line. This would be monkey. Alright, and we'll change this to monkey. And down here I'm going to do the same thing. Command V to paste my code in here, and what animal should we get? Hippo. We'll change this to hippo. Alright, and that was just to speed up a little bit. Cancel. Speed this up a little bit because we still have a lot of code to write. Alright, so now if the user chooses a weapon, we need to give an if statement for each weapon, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So if lion equal to a string, we did the stick, right? Stick, do something. So we're going to say, in this case, we're going to print another message. User chose stick. Alright. Now we're going to use another elif statement here. Lion equal to the knife was our next one, knife. And we're going to print. And I'm just going to copy this, speed this up a little bit. User chose knife and elif gun. Or sorry, lion equal to a string gun. Do something, so we're gonna print user chose gun. Alright. Now we're gonna do the same thing down here, so I'm gonna take this code and we're just gonna name line to monkey. So paste that in. I'll change this to monkey. Change this to monkey. Change this to monkey. And same with door number 3. We're just going to change it to hippo. So I'll just paste that in. And the reason I'm doing this, I can sit there and explain it to you, each one, but it's the same all the way down the program here, and just to save some time since we're already at 12 minutes into this tutorial. Now, alright, so we got if statements. If our big if statements, so if they chose a door, it's going to lead them down a certain path. And then we prompt them with another input that says, hey, you walked into a room with a certain animal and choose your weapon. If they choose a stick, it's going to do something. If it chose chose a knife, it's going to do something. If it chose a gun, it's going to do something. And we do that across the board. So this is called a compound if statement. And what it is if statement inside an if statement. Now, we can keep going here and put more if statements in here and change the scenarios as we go on. So let's go ahead and test this first before we do any of that. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. Press up to run your program again. Press enter. Please select the door. This time I'm going to do 2. And it says you entered a room that contained a monkey. Choose your weapon, stick, gun, or knife. I'm going to choose gun. And it said user chose gun. Alright. And then down here you get the user chose door number 2. Well, that was kind of like our placeholder text, and we don't need that anymore. So let's go ahead and remove that. And that's here. And here. And then here. Alright, so we take that out. So now we could, change what is printed back. Or we can change the if statement. Now we could extend this really, really long, and let's just do it for this one with stick real quick. We're going to add another if statement in here. So we're going to do stick, alright, and that's equal to something. So we're going to take the user's input, and we could say, do you want to swing, poke, or run? Alright, so we're going to allow the user to choose, do you want to swing, poke, or run? And then what we're going to do here is take the if statement, stick, stick, equal to, and if the user says swing, then we're going to do something. So we'll print the lion grabbed you want elif here, stick, poke, we're going to do something. So we go print the line. Sorry. Lion, spelled that wrong. The lion laughed at you. You and ripped off your arms. Okay. And we have another elif. What was our other ones? Run. So we'll give this one something too. So we'll print the line. Got tired of chasing you, and you survived. I spelled that wrong, but whatever, to save time. So we save our program, and we need an else statement. You don't always need an else statement, but if the user doesn't enter something that we prompt them to enter, then they won't get anything returned to us. So we'll just print one more statement here, and we'll say line 8 you. Line 8 you. Alright, so there we go. So now we got an if statement, if statement, if statement. So we're kind of like taking a path here. So if the user chose 1 and then chose stick, then it's going to do something. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Alright, so we're going to run our program, push up, push enter, and we're going to say choose door number 1. I'm going to choose stick because that's the one we build on. Do you want to swing, poke, or run? I'm going to say poke. And the lion laughed at you and ripped off your arms. So there you go. There's compound if statements. Now you can build on it, and I suggest you do. Add to this, make it cooler, make it, something fun to play with. And go ahead and share it with the rest of us on YouTube, and we'll see what some of you guys can come up with. So this is like a little code challenge to see what you can do with this. If you have any questions, please leave a comment on YouTube or on our website at learnpythontutorial.com. And don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like the video. We'll see you in the next one.